Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where we are reviewing all the films I've seen so far in the year 2024, and the next film we're going to be discussing is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It is rated PG-13. It came out May 16th, 2024 and directed by Wes Ball. It stars Owen Teague as Noah, Freya Allan as May/Nova, and Kevin Durand as Proximus Caesar. Now, to my knowledge, as of when I watched Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I have only seen the first one, and I did see the second one, but I don't remember it. I wanted to actually do watch-alongs and watch all of them with you guys to prepare for this movie. It's not really necessary to do that because this takes place 300 years after that series happens. So, you don't really need to see all those movies. However, I did go back and touch on those movies again, and it's interesting. When I watched the first two in the newer trilogy, so there were the originals in like 1980 or something. I have not watched those. I will admit I've never watched them. I knew they existed, but I didn't know that all this was in the same universe or anything. But the timeline of Caesar is, and I think Caesar was actually in the 1980 ones too. He's at least mentioned. I don't know if he's actually in them, but he is mentioned in them. But my issue growing up, and the reason I never watched the last one, is called The War for the Planet of the Apes. And I have a huge fear of apes, chimpanzees, gorillas, anything like that. And it's not because I think like, okay, so I have a fish fear, but it's not, that's kind of a silly fear that I just have. I feel like someday I'll be eaten by a fish, but the likeliness of that isn't actually a statistic. Monkeys are cray. They are cray-cray. And they can be violent, you guys. Oh my gosh, and they're intelligent. That's just a known fact. They are pretty smart. They have thumbs. And they can be very violent. So the fact, I've always had anxiety of watching those films because it's like, if they did get more knowledgeable, if something like that did happen, they could overrun us, and that could be our world. That could be our life. Now, as a kid, I didn't understand all the disease part of it. So as an adult with COVID, like not adult with COVID, but an adult after COVID, now that part's like, oh gosh, again, we're lucky we're able, I know people are like, oh, I want to go back to how life was. It's like, we're lucky we're still able to live life seemingly normal after COVID, where you watch things like 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later, or even Planet of the Apes, where their life, they're not going to go back to normal. Or, what was the one I watched with my husband? He plays the video game all the time. The Last of Us. Those universes, those storylines, they can't go back to normal. They can't just go back in their house, cook up dinner. Maybe chicken is a little bit more expensive right now, but they can't just like go back to their little merry way, you know? We're actually pretty lucky compared to how all those stories play out. But my review on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, again, I didn't go back and look at the other films when I watched it, and it was interesting to watch it this way. Kind of like the first Omen, I was reminded of my past of religious lifestyles compared to how when I became atheist. And it very much is kind of the story of, you can look at it as a story of God, Jesus, all that stuff, where centuries later, no one knows who Caesar was. Like, no one is alive that knew Caesar in the flesh. So they're all hearsay of Caesar, of what Caesar stood for. And Proximus Caesar in this, well, he takes it as apes first and foremost, and who cares about what's right and wrong? You know, like, to him, what's right is the humans, what the humans created. He wants to skip evolution times to learn that stuff, and he wants it now because apes first, right? That's how he took Caesar's words and teachings and everything Caesar fought for in the first 3 films. But that's not really what Caesar fought for in the first 3 films. And that's a whole interesting concept too. The first 3, with Koba, the other ape that was very intelligent, but I personally don't find his view to be so wrong when you look at what he's been through. And that's very much how movies are nowadays. It's no longer this person's good, this person's bad. Oh, that's the good guy, that's the bad guy. Bad guys can actually be very right. They just take things to an extreme. And he did kind of, Koba, this is kind of reviewing the second one right now, but Koba was incorrect when the moment he did shoot Caesar, and then he threw another ape off the tower thing. Because apes don't hurt apes. And at this point, Proximus Caesar is basically enslaving apes to do his work. And he even says, we'll get in that vault no matter how many apes it takes. No matter how many apes I lose, we are getting in that vault. Caesar would not have done that. I guess it's raining. Oh, good. So that was a very interesting viewpoint of that. I really thought going back I would understand more of like why humans weren't talking or all that stuff, and I don't really understand. I know it's the disease. The character of Nova/May, it took me 2 watches. I watched it with my husband, and I'm not gonna lie, had I reviewed this movie with just that watch alone, it would have been the second lowest on my list because I fell asleep and I was waiting for the story to get going. I never saw the story get going. But the second time, Nova/May kind of pissed me off. I feel like she actually was kind of a bad guy because she was acting like she was like this feral little thing. Oh, I'm like basically roles reversed. I'm now the ape. I'm now the lesser being who can't talk, who can't communicate, who has to follow you around and beg for scraps of food when she could talk full sentences. And then she's like, oh no, I lost my whole clan and I'm the only one and no. When she had a whole bunker of humans who could also talk and communicate. And she's like, oh no, it's a book that like will teach you how to talk. And it's like a flash drive that like, and then they get in the vault through the back way because she needed the apes to climb because they're good climbers to get into the vault. And instead of taking them back out the safe way, she leads them right to the front door. And I know it was manipulative because Proximus Caesar, they all walk in, all the bad apes, all the enslaved apes walk in, and, you know, they're like holding down Noah and his team. But Proximus Caesar walks right by May and, like, tucks her hair to the side. Like, thanks. More like a thank you, kid. And she's like, like, damn it, you just let it out. And he's like, you know what, Noah? You would have been a really good ape. A really good, strong, compatible ape. But your only fault, you just trust the humans too much. Obviously looks at May. I feel, it was not stated, but I truly feel she was in cahoots with no one, honestly. But she knew she was going to lead them in that moment in cahoots with Proximus Caesar to lead them right to the front door. She didn't take him back out the back way, the safe way. She took him right to the front door. They opened the door. There he is. There's all the apes that are gonna enslave them again. Like, she knew what she was doing. And then it was confusing because so she lets the dam through. They all kind of, a lot of the apes pass away because they drown. It's like a whole Titanic scene at that point. She had no idea if Noah and his friends and his mom and his family made it. But later she's just going back to their home to say, oh, I just want to say goodbye. It's like, bitch, you tried to drown us. Like, what? And she still, even in that scene, I believe she had a gun in the back of her, in her back, like behind her. She just, I don't know. She just, if they go forward, she's a bad guy in my mind. I did not like her the second viewing. The first viewing, I don't remember her. Like, I knew she started talking, but that was about it. But I don't know. Crazy girl. Overall, it was, I'll definitely watch it again. I do like, I'm not obsessed with the Planet of the Apes, like, trilogy stories all too much. But it's an interesting concept to think about. But it still gives me anxieties because I swear if that were to ever happen and apes were to ever get more knowledge than us, like at the end of it, yes, may have been kind of conniving, kind of evil. She may even be the bad guy. But as a human being, I get you, girl, I get you. She's right. That equipment was not made for apes. They couldn't even read, which that confused me too. Because in the first one, Kobo writes the scientist's name. Jacobs. He writes the scientist. Skip ahead to the rating of this before my battery dies. So for now, my rating is the first Omen still gets first place. Mean Girls is second place. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes in third place. It was pretty good. I did watch it twice. I fell asleep once. But I do like the whole idea of centuries later how someone's values can be twisted and turned depending on who is interpreting them. It's very much like a biblical thing, and it is up for interpretation because it happened so long ago. No one here lived through that time. So everyone now interprets it to fit their means and their motives. Abigail, Night Swim, Arthur the King, The Fall Guy, ISS, and again, I hope there's Love Lies Bleeding stays at the bottom of the list because I do not want to see a film worse than Love Lies Bleeding. But that is my review for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Let me know what you guys thought of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Let me know what you think about the whole Planet of the Apes, even the old ones if you guys have seen them. If I can figure out watch-alongs, maybe we could watch those. I don't know. What was your favorite Planet of the Apes from that really epic trilogy? You guys think about it. When those films came out, that is amazing CGI. And Andy Serkis definitely gets all the, like, so much credit for his acting. The fact he was just going to voice Caesar, and then he did so great. He does the best acting in that way for Caesar. Gollum, like, that guy is the GOAT when it comes to VFX acting, like, go you. And for that time, just amazing. I'm just now learning how to use green screen, so like the fact that they were able to do all that back in like early 2000s, amazing. That was my review, and I will see you guys in the next one. I don't know what it's gonna be. I'm hoping it's gonna be Deadpool and Wolverine. Let's fucking go. All right, bye.